Welcome to the Windy City's Finest on location in Fort McMurray. I'm Mac, he's Perry, and this is...
Allie.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for meeting with us, Allie. I'm really excited to learn about your art and what you do, and I think it's maybe obvious with what's behind us. But I guess, yeah, let's just start with what sort of art do you do?
I mainly paint on canvas, acrylics and inks. So I like bright colors, so acrylics really pop, and I don't have the patience for oils. So
fair enough. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm really excited to learn about that and see more of these pieces and talk about them. But first, we're going to play some games just to get to know you as a person a little bit. The first one we do is a little trivia. How are you at trivia?
Terrible.
Great.
That'll be fun.
Yes. This is all about Fort McMurray. Just a couple questions.
Okay.
I'll ask one, and then I'll get you to ask your trivia. The city of Fort McMurray is technically not a city. Since 1995, it became designated as a rural special area, B, UNESCO heritage site, C, urban service area, or D, Athabasca Oil Corporation off-site dwelling. And there we go, right? And yeah, so it's like we're from Lethbridge, so it's like, yeah, we'll go to the city of Fort McMurray.
Yeah, well, it's big enough. It should be a city.
You think?
But,
right.
Yeah.
Now you know. Yeah. All right, so Perry has written some questions for me that you're going to ask me. We'll see how I do.
Oh, okay. Perry loves which genre of music the most? A, classical. B, hip-hop. C, lo-fi. I don't even know what that is. And D, suburban grunge.
I will go with B, hip-hop.
It is B, hip-hop.
We listen to lots of that on the drive here.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I also like a good hip-hop.
The urban grunge. Yeah.
Like me, a little Jay-Z.
There we go.
All right.
Great, I got one right. All right, your second.
48-hour filmmaking challenges to date. Jeez. A, 3. B, 7. C, 13. Or D, 17. Because he's an overachiever.
You're right. He's got lots of time on his hands. I've been involved with a few of those, for sure. So it's definitely not the lowest number. I would say 7.
Nailed it.
There we go.
Wow.
I listened.
You won this round.
Yeah. All right. That's the trivia. It's super easy. Good stuff. All right. Our next little game we're going to play is called This or That. And yeah, that rhymed. I would say, but overall, I would say summer, just because of the longer days. There's more you can do. Yeah. There's more going on with outdoor events and patios and do lots of hiking. Love patios. There we go.
Good patio.
You can't really do that in the winter as
easily.
No,
you really can't. And winter here, it's
quite cold.
It's terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say, and then we do lots of camping and hiking and biking and outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
Climbing and
Lethbridge is nice for that.
Right. We're close to the mountains. Yeah. So I would say summer. How about you?
Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like to do?
Oh, literally anything outside. Mostly I like swimming. I grew up on a lake in Montreal, so the water is like the water is my natural state.
Nice.
So, but and everybody here, oh, winter's nice, like they like skiing.
Theme park or museum?
Oh, museum.
Oh yeah, okay.
Actually, theme park. I prefer museum. I like quiet. Theme parks are loud. There's a lot of people. We actually have a La Ronde in Montreal that we went to last summer, and I got concussed. So I'm not a fan. I used to love roller coasters, but I can't do those anymore.
Fair enough.
In my old age.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think I'm on the same page again. Yeah. Museums. Your turn.
Oh, donkey or horse?
The classic donkey or horse question that we always get here.
What a conundrum.
Well, if I had to choose, I would say horse.
I want to know the person who would choose donkey.
Right? What an idiot.
What an ass.
Yeah, there we go. Nice.
Okay.
Yes. I guess growing up in southern Alberta, near the mountains, lots of ranching and farming and stuff. So I guess horse, but I've only ever really ridden a horse once.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was like we were on this thing that they just took us on a trail ride, and once, and it was okay.
Yeah.
But I've never ridden a donkey.
No. I wouldn't. I mean, maybe if you go to like the Grand Canyon, you could ride a donkey. I think they take those down the trail. But
True.
I've ridden many a horse.
Yeah.
Beautiful sunny day. And I'm like, why would I live anywhere else? And then I moved to Fort McMurray. So, a little different. But anyways, but that's on horseback is when I decided to move to Alberta.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, I picked one here while you were talking. Oh, look at that. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm super allergic to cats.
Okay.
But they're more my style. Like they're very independent. Dogs are very needy.
Yeah.
And I love my dog. But cats are more my speed. I just can't have them.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I would say cats. Generally, I grew up with dogs and I like dogs, but for that reason, we have 3 cats.
Oh.
One of them's quite needy,
Yeah.
which is tiring.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, it's just awful. But
Awful.
we rescued them, and every time I step in the door, she starts crying and wants to be picked up. And,
Yeah.
But the other 2 are great. And I do love their independence. And,
Yeah.
And even just like, it's the same with dogs, I'm sure, but they're like personalities, like different
Yeah.
personalities. And
Yeah.
they're lovely, good to cuddle with.
Yeah.
Let's maybe do one more each.
Yeah. All right. New or familiar?
I think I'm going to say familiar, generally.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I like new experiences, but...
Yeah. Well, you're a dude, so.
What's that?
Guys don't generally like change.
Okay.
It's just,
Sure.
It's just one of those things. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I've learned this over the years. Guys like familiar, but I prefer new. Like anything new or weird or different. I love change.
Great. Well, we are different that way, because I'm a man and you are a woman. That's all
That
right.
is one of the big differences between the two of
I've
us.
noticed, yeah. We'll do one more.
Okay.
What's this one say? Good question. Camp or glamp?
Oh, camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely more of a tent person, whereas my husband is more of a trailer person. He wants to buy a trailer, but I refuse. So we have 2 really nice tents.
Nice.
We don't go camping enough to buy a trailer.
Sure.
But I like living in a tent.
Good.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Camp.
I like crawling out of the tent and just being in the woods.
Yeah,
You know?
you can get to so many more cooler places if you have a tent.
Exactly. And you don't have to it doesn't take 2 days to clean up after yourself. You know,
True,
you just
yeah.
throw it in the car and go.
Right.
You know?
It's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Low-key.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, that's the this or that game. And our last game, we'll see how it goes.
Oh, Lord.
Tumbling Towers.
Yeah.
And you played before. Ooh.
Yeah.
What do you put in your burrito?
I'm going to say this because obviously every vegan does. I'm a vegan.
Oh, boy.
Sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing.
All right.
So beans
Okay.
and a lot of vegetables.
Good.
Yeah.
So we're learning things about each other. Great.
Yeah.
My favorite comfort food. I don't know what comes to mind. I just love pasta. So give me some really rich some pasta, ravioli or something with something inside.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That's always delicious.
That is true.
Right.
Pasta's good.
All right. Let's find another question. Ooh, a 39.
Mm.
So more about your veganism here.
I've never been overseas, which is insane to me at this point in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been down to the Caribbean. I've seen every state except for 3. Seen most of Canada, driven across many times. But I've never been to Europe, which is where all the culture is.
Right.
So I really need to go.
And maybe because you're from Montreal area, right? Maybe
Yeah.
it's like a little Europe. Maybe
No.
it's like, well, I'm already halfway there.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I guess actually for me that would kind of be my idea too of just traveling more with if you have more, if you live to be 100 and whatever.
Yeah.
2. Then I would maybe travel a bit more. Sure.
Yeah.
I have not seen all of Canada. I've been a bit here and there, but
Yeah.
see
Well,
more
now
of
you've
Canada.
seen Fort McMurray.
Nothing
So
else
there's
to
that
see.
off your, your bucket
That was
list.
my big. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. All right. Your turn to pick one.
All right. Bothering me, I can't do what I like, so I can't relax. So I really just try to get things done immediately.
No, okay,
Yeah, I'm
great.
definitely not a procrastinator.
Great,
So,
yeah, that's great.
yeah.
All right, yeah, I guess for me, I could come up with a long list, putting things off, taxes, dishes. What do I put off that maybe I need to be doing? Taxes. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly like a specific thing. What else would I put off? Many of filling up with gas. That's that's one thing I probably shouldn't put off. It's like
No.
I never run out of gas, but
Yeah.
usually I'm like I can go a little further, and it's not a big thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing I put off. All
Up
right.
here, you can't put off filling up with
Right.
gas.
Yeah.
One, when we had the fire, a lot of people couldn't leave, including us, because we didn't have enough gas to get to the next town.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Because the next fill-up station is like over 200 kilometers away.
Mm-hmm,
So that's one thing here that you cannot do.
yeah.
And when I was working on site, I would have to travel like 2.5 hours north.
Yeah.
And there's one gas station before you get there, and that's it.
Yeah.
So if you're low on gas, you're screwed.
Oh yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to just clarify, like if I'm driving far away, of course, I'm not going to just like. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking the city mostly.
Yeah.
I just kind of put it off because I can just eke by. Yeah, all right. I think we have time for maybe one more, I guess. So I guess it's my turn.
Mm-hmm. Careful.
All right. Man, oh, this one feels loose. Great, 28. Huh. What's a TV series you binge watched?
I love House.
Yeah.
Okay. Or Yellowstone. But House I've watched like 3 times. It's just one of those, he's awesome. And I like little mysteries, but medical mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
Laurie, right? Yeah. Nice. And what else do you like about the show? Is it just the
I like anything medical, but this one is more like weird diagnoses and weird ailments. So that just kind of interests me, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's a good show. I've watched a little bit of it.
Have you?
I like it. Yeah. Binge watch. What have I watched that I really loved? What comes to mind? Watched it years ago. Back in Perry, in Fort McLeod. Not Fort McLeod. Fort McMurray.
Where am I?
I get those two confused. They're very close to each other. We're in Fort McMurray.
Hello and welcome once again to the Windy City's finest, on location with Mac and Perry here in Fort McMurray. He's Mac, I'm Perry, and this is...
I'm Allie.
Yes, I had great fun watching you connect with Mac in the last segment, but we're going to dive into more of your artistic journey and hear more about your story.
Yeah.
So I usually open it wide up to begin with and just start super broad strokes, like where do you feel your artistic journey began? Was there like a really concrete memory or what?
Okay, so my father would never consider himself an artist, but he loves doing technical drawings. So he taught me how to use AutoCAD when I was a kid. Like I was like 8 or something, and AutoCAD is a complicated program. A lot of math involved in that one. But doing technical drawings on a computer. And then I started doing more technical drawings on paper after that, and I always loved make a rink for myself, but it was a house. So I would shovel like rooms, and then this was my closet, this was the ballroom, this was, so I would shovel these areas for myself, and I would do it out on the ice too. Yeah.
Wow, that's super interesting.
Just
I can't even skate, so that's incredible. And yeah, I'm hearing that kind of sense of, so it sounds like your beginning was quite fostered by your dad, would you say? What else?
My dad is a very, he was a teacher. He's a gym teacher, was a gym teacher. But he always had a really good imagination, and he likes building things with his hands. He likes inventing things. So every week we would get together and we would come up with these inventions that we would like draw out, you know. We never actually made anything too much, but it was always a lot of ideas. And so he wouldn't consider himself artistic, but he definitely is. Yeah.
Nice. And yeah, so you're primarily a visual artist.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that?
I'd say like I only started painting in my 20s. But before that, like my whole family, they're all musicians, and I wouldn't say they're not all visual artists, but everybody has a little bit of, I don't know what you'd say, wonder in them, a little bit of magic, I guess, and so it came from that. But I only really started painting because I stopped doing
Still
sports.
there throughout your time, like before starting to get back into this? Like,
Yeah,
how?
I was always the kid that had her head in the clouds.
Yeah.
I was a good athlete, but I was always the kid that was at the frog pond or collecting bugs, or so that was kind of, that's more me. I'm a good athlete, but I should have always painted. So.
Super. And then, do you feel like where you grew up played a part in like your artistic journey at all? What
Yeah,
can you
where
tell
I
me
grew
about
up, it was like half an hour outside of the closest town.
Right.
And in the winter, there wasn't many people there, like at all.
Yeah.
So I was left to my imagination a lot. And we didn't grow up with computers or anything, right? In our age or my age, I was out in my canoe watching fish. I used to like fishing, but then I realized that wasn't very nice because I didn't eat them. I just
Right.
I just like playing with them. So no, it's just growing up in the country without a lot of people around. You kind of have to use your imagination a lot, and so yeah, it definitely helped develop my imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like continuing on with that idea of wonder, when you
Yeah.
did, like in your 20s, it sounded like, dive back into it. Was it like just a gradual thing, or it felt like a supernatural thing?
It was, I don't even remember why I started. Oh, I do remember. The first thing I ever painted, I painted a Superman, because I used to love comic book heroes and stuff, but not necessarily, I wouldn't read comic books, but I liked the art of it. So I had this apartment in Montreal, and it was just, white walls, and it was really boring. So I decided to paint a Superman on my wall. It was life size. And then I painted a koi fish over my really beautiful fireplace that was in my apartment. And then I had to move like a year later, and I couldn't bring these things with me. So then I started painting on canvases, because I was like, if I move again, then I'll have to bring it with me.
Of it, like kind of replicating things that you had maybe seen? Or
Yeah,
was it
so I
technique?
started, I used to watch this painter online. His name is Voka, Voka. Amazing painter. And he paints these like landscapes, but like cityscapes. He does a lot of buildings and stuff, and I just liked his style. So the first few paintings I did myself were reproductions of his. So I tried to learn how he was doing it, but it was mostly just watching videos and figuring it out.
Yeah.
Trial and error, and it didn't always work out, but
Yeah, I mean, what do you think you learned through that process? Because my understanding.
yeah, just he uses a lot of color, so obviously I got that from him. But he's very loose in the way he like starts off his paintings, and then tightens up as he goes. And I'm still kind of learning that, but yeah, he's amazing, and yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. And I'm curious, just
A lot of drawing schematics and stuff, or drawing instruments or tools, and I would I would take his homework and do it for fun.
yeah.
Just drawing things from different perspectives. Yeah. I don't know why. I probably should have gone into architecture or mechanical drawing or something, but
Should have
I did not.
Oh, yeah, you're all good.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm also curious about this idea of like balance. It sounds like there was kind of a shift from like sports and all of that into more visual arts.
Yeah.
But what can you tell me about balance and maybe the role that has played, maybe even more recently in your...
Behavior of whales. I was going to live on a boat.
Oh, wow.
That was my life. But so it kind of flipped my whole world upside down. And then I needed to find something else that made my life make sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I got back into drawing and back into art. And yeah, it's just, it helped me get through it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, what can you tell me about like using art in that way? Like, yeah.
Well, well, when you think your life is going in a certain direction, and then all of a sudden it takes a hard left turn, you know, I guess you kind of go back to your roots, right? Like you kind of try to find yourself again, and I think that's what I did. I didn't consciously do it; it just happened. So, is it okay? Yeah.
Fair enough. And then, yeah, so like kind of diving into the more, when you started really getting back into it, you know, what did you start with? Has it always been what we see behind us here? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, I was watching Volca a lot and really liked his cityscapes. So then I started picking just cities in the U.S. that I liked, and I would start doing my own.
Awesome. So yeah, just diving back into like when you really kind of jumped back into it and where you kind of started. Was it what we see behind us, or was it people, cars, landscape?
Yeah, it was cities. I like painting cities. So places that I've been, places that I want to go. And I really started painting a lot when my husband was working up here and we were living down in Edmonton. So I was there with the babies at that point. And I guess I started painting in the evenings to keep myself like semi-sane.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a hobby that I started doing there. And yeah, it was mostly places I wanted to go, places I've been. So yeah, but cities. I like cities.
Cities.
Yeah. I don't like living in them, but I do like the architecture of them.
Yeah, the architecture, kind of that through line there.
Yeah. I like old buildings. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Some people think it's naive.
Sure.
It's not.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm well aware that there are ugly things in the world, but I like, I don't know, how do you say, promoting the pretty. So like the sites, you go to site and it's not typically pretty. It's definitely not as colorful as I make it, but I try to use color to convey how amazing it is once you're there, like how inspiring it is when you're there and you meet the people that have built it. So a lot of people ask me like, oh, why don't you paint something? A lot of people ask me, why don't you paint something else? Like, why don't you paint something, like, why don't you paint flowers or the sea or, you know, a nice mountain? And to me, that's boring because they're already pretty. So what am I going to do? Make it prettier? Like, I don't think I could do it justice. You know, if you want a picture of a nice mountain, take a picture and frame it and put it on your wall, you know? So I can't make a flower prettier. That's just pretty. So I like making things or painting things that aren't typically seen as pretty, I guess.
Very interesting. And for me, like, there's that sense of like human ingenuity.
So I was cold, it was dark, and it's hard to see the lighter side of things when it's like that, but I looked at the cokers and I just thought like that's some pretty impressive stuff. Like the fact that humans can build that is pretty impressive. And I just started almost making myself see how amazing it was so that I would be okay with being there. And I think that's where all my paintings come from, because it is a hard life working in the oil sands. It is. But the people that work there are pretty cool, and it's like a second family, you know. So I just kind of want to show that instead of how hard it is.
Yeah.
So it's a coping mechanism for sure. But it's nice when I would bring my paintings in like after I was done them, because I did a lot of some normally do.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Tell me more.
I gotta say, like being an artist full time is pretty awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. I love working at site. I did, and I do miss the people. But I wouldn't choose that over working from home. You know, painting all day, sipping my wine. So, yeah. But I mean, it's not work everybody can do, but it's fun. I can't complain about it. It's amazing. Yeah.
And there was also this idea of like optimism in there, and I'm curious about.
But I was still smiling till the last day I worked there, you know. And I think that's just the way I have to function. I can't be miserable, and it's easy to be miserable in that setting. It is, and it's contagious, right? Like negative thoughts, negative way of thinking. It's contagious, and so I tried every day to make it a happier place, at least for myself. But then, you know, that's also contagious. So I just wanted everybody to be happy and enjoy their time there. I mean, we all have to be there. So why not make it fun?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
why are we here?
Yeah.
Why are you going to be in a job that just makes you miserable the whole time? So just try to make everything fun and happy. And I think that's exactly what I do with my art. Just try to make everything fun and happy.
Yeah. And I'm a bit curious about bringing your pieces of artwork into that space.
Yeah.
Was that like a conscious decision in that effort, or like what were some of the reactions?
I did, because a lot of my art was commissioned by people, some of the managers and presidents at Suncor. So I would bring them in once they were done, and I would tell everybody it's going to be here all day, and then I would go deliver it, you know, to whoever ordered it. So people would come in to my office at that point. I had an office, and they would come in and see it before I brought it up, and they would just stand there and stare at it and smile. And it was just a different way for them to see it too, because sometimes it's harder for some people to see the nice things that are around you all day. You know, if you're used to seeing it all the time, it gets kind of mundane. But
Familiar.
yeah, exactly. Right? So, but if somebody else presents you with a different way to see it, it kind of changes your mind a little bit, makes you a little bit happy. And I've told this story a lot, but there's this one guy once, he came in and he was so excited, and he goes, and I didn't have a painting in my office or anything. He just came in, he's like, Allie, like, I was on the bus this morning, and the way that the sun was hitting Plant 9 was so amazing, and I wish I had my camera to take a picture for you. And I was like, well, that's nice, because now he's seeing it the way I do, right? And that's what I want. I want people to see it as amazing, not as mundane, because that's boring.
Yeah.
So.
And I, you know, on like a more personal level, is that something you hope to pass off, like, to your family, your friends? Like, what's that?
I'm
like?
definitely. I've never been a cheerleader, and I that's fine if that's what you're into. But I'm definitely a cheerleader for the family. My daughter's the same way. She's a very positive person, and you know, anybody who tends to the negative, I always try to, you know, instead of saying how was your day, you say, what amazing thing did you do today? You know, what amazing thing did you say today, or see, or did you meet anybody new? You know, and it just shifts your mind, and I try to do that a lot. I am conscious that I do that a lot.
Yeah.
But.
And you kind of mentioned like that optimistic side, that it's not easy either.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, I'm imagining.
Yeah. It's easier the more you do it. So you kind of retrain your brain, I guess, to do that. But my parents were very optimistic people and very happy people. So I think I get it from there. My whole family's very positive, I guess. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any more you could add to that, but I am curious about that idea of like being seen through your work.
Yeah.
And I'm picking up on the sense of like being seen through your hard work, maybe at one point in time, like literally.
Yeah.
But then like the time
And that made me proud that I could do that, right? Because not everybody can, and I was proud of that. Now that I do this, yes, it doesn't seem hard. Well, it doesn't seem like it's not a hard job. It's just, people always say like, oh, I wish I could do that. I'm like, it's just practice. It really is just practice. You do it every day, you know. And I decided a couple of years ago that this is what I want to do forever. And I just practiced and practiced and practiced, and it's showing up every day and doing it. That's it. Like, anybody could do this. It's just practice. So, yeah.
Interesting. What more can you tell me about your
action I had when I thought of George Street? I was like, oh yeah, and so I wanted to paint it, and I wanted to do something to represent my time there and our friends that we have that are from Newfoundland. So that's how I usually choose my subject matter, is whatever makes me smile. And then basically I just splash the whole canvas with paint, with ink, and start there. And then I just start piecing things together. I like composite, like making things that are a lot of different views, a lot of different perspectives, and then just making it fit together somehow. I don't usually plan it that well. Sometimes I gotta, throw things in afterwards, but it usually works out. So, yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I realize we might.
Business that is related to site. So I feel like when I'm painting site, I'm painting something that represents everybody here. Like, that's the whole reason we're here, right?
Yeah.
Nobody comes to the oil sands to like be a farmer or, So I feel like I represent them when I do paint these things. Also, we have a really big Newfoundland community here, so I feel like that's a big part of our community. But we do have a really rich art community here. So I don't know. I try to paint for myself, but at the same time, I am very aware that there's people from all over the world here. So I find the reason I paint site is because it speaks to everybody, I guess. Like, everybody's here for that reason. So that's why I paint it. I don't really know how else to explain that.
No, that's super succinct, and I love that. Yeah. I love that you have that available to you.
Go, flowers, and there was a dragon, and anyways, there was a bunch of stuff. But that was my very first mural. I've done obviously my kids' rooms quite a bit, and but then I have murals coming up at the airport. So those are big panels on metal. But I paint them here in my studio. Each painting is 7 feet by 14 feet, and there's 4 of them all together, and they represent the oil sands. So the first one is mining, so all the mining trucks and the diggers and all that. The second one is refining, so it's all the pipes and the exchangers, the valves, all that stuff, the cokers. Third one is reclamation. Which is basically how, not reclamation, sorry, sustainability. So it's used like insects and animals and all that stuff. And it's amazing what they do. And you'd never know that humans were there, but it doesn't get talked about enough, but it's pretty cool. So anyway, so those are the murals I'm doing for the airport. Those will be unveiled on the 20th. So I've never actually seen them all together because I could only have a few pieces in here at a time. So it'll be quite something to see them, together and up and yeah.
And I'm curious about your space here, and sharing it, in your home, and is it is your family allowed in, or is this like your place, your cave?
No, well, but both my kids are artists. They're very talented, so they're allowed in here anytime. A couple of years ago, I did a podcast and I joked about, having to take over. I wanted to take over the garage, but this was my husband's domain. The TV and there was a bar in here, and he watched a lot of football in here. Basically, is what happens in here. And when I got the murals at the airport, I was like, honey, I need the space. Like, every piece was 3.5 feet by 7 feet, and I needed multiple, out at the same time. So I'm like, I have to take over the garage. So I kind of half took over the garage. Like, the bar was still here up until a couple weeks ago, and but then when I left my job and decided this is what I'm doing, I'm like, honey, I'm taking the garage now. It's happening. So it's been 2 years in the making. He's been very supportive. My husband's super supportive. But I also transformed the entire basement into his man den. So that helped.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, this space is, last night we were watching hockey in here while I was painting, and, just, it's everybody's space, but that's definitely mine.
Nice.
So.
Love it. I'm curious about what kind of challenges do you think you've overcome on your journey here?
Oh, challenges. Yeah. Well, making the leap to doing this full time was definitely one of the biggest. Caused me some anxiety.
Yeah.
But I think in the end, if I really commit myself, and I have been for the last couple of years, just showing up every day and doing something every day to further this business, then it's gonna work out. And like I said, I'm an optimist, so I'm not gonna fail. But that's definitely been the biggest challenge. But
Interesting. Okay. And we are kind of coming towards the end of our time here. But I guess my last question for you, which we try to ask everybody, is kind of like, how do you feel your artistic practice, and especially, you know, maybe shifting gears into full time, how has that maybe changed?
Yeah, my kids are 13 and 15, so I'm hoping that, you know, and they're both artistic, like I said, so I'm hoping that they see me succeed and, you know that it can happen for them too. So.
And so success is maybe what you make it in some way, shape, or form. So.
Oh, as long as we can pay the rent, I'm going to be happy.
Yes.
Not rent, but the mortgage.
Super fair.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much the time we have today.
Welcome to Windy City's finest, on location in Fort McMurray. I'm Mac. He's Perry, and
I'm Allie.
This is Allie. Yeah, we had a little break. Did you have like a vegan burrito while we were?
I wish. Yeah, I'm hungry.
Yeah, we're back. I really enjoyed your segment with Perry.
And I drive by them every day when I was working on site. So if you're ever in Fort McMurray, that's one of the things you need to go see. Yeah, you don't get the scale of it until you're actually seeing it in person. And then I put some buffalo down here. We have a buffalo park here in Fort McMurray. We're trying to reintroduce them.
When you think like about those pieces,
there's like the amount of ingenuity that went into this equipment is just insane. And the fact that like one or two people can like operate these things, you know, is just crazy to me. They're massive. They're bigger than buildings. They're huge. And what I do is I take whatever color it is and I just exaggerate it. So this thing is actually orange, but it's like a deep orange and it's kind of boring orange. So I made it brighter, and that has some blues in it. So I just made it blue. I really don't think of it other than that, like much more than that, just exaggeration of
the oil sands.
The oil sands. It really, it's well, you see it here on the sides of the roads, right? Even if you're driving a site, like it's right there. It's oil sands are literally, that's literally what it is. So you're driving down the road, you see oil in the bank, you know? So it's everywhere. And when you work in the oil sands, it gets into everything. Like it gets into every pore. It gets into your ears, it gets into your nose, and it's becomes, you know, a part of you. And, but it's still pretty amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. And just the last
seeps in wherever it wants to go.
Cool.
So I don't control where the ink goes. It just kind of does its own thing. And then I go in and I put more color with acrylic after that. But I think it kind of depicts oil pretty well.
I would say, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's a really cool piece. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll move on to the next one, another oil sands related one.
Yards. They refurbish a lot of stuff. They have a lot of mechanics there that fix up the trucks and stuff from the oil sands. So their yard is always full. And I always wanted a tour, and I wanted to take pictures. And I ended up meeting, perchance, some of the guys that work there. And I asked them if they would give me a tour. So they did, and it was amazing. And so these are all pictures I took, reference pictures I took from their yard. And then I came home and I painted it. But again, like I said, these things are just incredible to see in person. And like you could park a truck in here, you know, like it doesn't like it was a few hours. So we walked around, and he showed me the yard, and then he showed me the shop and introduced me some guys, and they were amazing. Everybody was amazing. And that's the thing. Like everybody here is so proud of their work and the jobs they do, that it makes me want to paint it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but everybody here loves what they do, or they're very proud of it. So it's nice when you ask somebody about their job or to show you where they work. They're very willing, and people love talking about what they do. So.
Yeah. It seems like you can bring that out in them. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of pride here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know, like in some of your previous pieces I saw, like on your website, like there are other vehicles as well. Like some vehicles are kind of sometimes make their way into your art.
Absolutely. I love drawing cars. The first car I ever drew was our Mercury Sable when I was a kid. I think I was like 12, and I drew the car in our driveway. and it's not a spectacular car, but whatever. But yeah, and then he's like, well, the dealership, they wanted something else for like the men's bathroom. The women's bathroom had a nice flower or something. They need something in the men's bathroom. I'm like, I'm gonna paint you a motor because those are cool. Yeah. So I painted a BMW motor, you know, and all the inner workings and stuff, and it was really cool. And anyway, I sent that down to him, and he's like, yeah, we're not putting that in the bathroom. That's going in the lobby.
Oh, yeah.
So
nice.
Anyway, somebody later pointed out they put the belt on wrong in the painting, but I try not to think about it too much.
Yeah. And more of a location piece.
Oh, yeah. This is what I did for fun.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if I recognize this area, but where is this?
It's post-apocalyptic Montreal.
All right.
Downtown. For those who have been there, this is the Bay, the department store, the Bay. And this is one of the main streets of Montreal. And I know we were watching a lot of Walking Dead at the time. But I just seeing like the old buildings, which I love painting, but then also adding in some nature. And I don't often do flowers or, you know, leaves or anything. And this was actually the first one I've ever done. So it was a learning curve. But I did because my kids like Easter eggs or eggs or whatever. So they're like, you should put in some zombies. So I have a zombie owl, a zombie kitten, and a zombie deer hidden in this painting.
I don't know if we can find those things. We won't point them out, but we'll let the viewers look for them. Yeah. That's fun. So that was more your kid's idea, maybe? Or
Yeah, a little bit. It was just something, I don't know. Sometimes I need to do something a little different. And sometimes after doing a lot of oil sands paintings, I want to do something pretty, I guess.
Yeah, definitely a juxtaposition to like machinery and the oil sands versus nature. But there's still, like you mentioned, you love that man-madeness and architecture. So obviously that's still in there. It's not just like you said, a photo of the mountains, a painting of the mountains. So I think it still has that influence as well. And
but yeah, this is George Street in Newfoundland, and I've been there once and had a blast. And we have multiple friends from Newfoundland up here in Fort McMurray. There's a huge Newfoundland population. So it's something that I know people here would appreciate, and also something that brings me happy memories, and something that I knew that my friends from there would really like. So that's why I did this. And George Street is very colorful on its own, so I didn't actually have to exaggerate the colors too much, but it's a fun time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, with the colors, obviously it's very different than like your oil sands pieces. And then like as far as even like the buildings and how they're kind of located in the painting themselves. Well,
that's one of the things I've noticed I like doing a lot. I like doing like composite pieces, like not just seeing one point of view, but seeing multiple points of view. And I find that if you do, if I just paint the street, it's very limited in what you can see. And I want to be able to see everything at once. And I think that's what I've started doing with all my paintings. I pick the best parts of it, and then I highlight them, and I put them all together so you can just, really see it. Yeah.
No, I think that's a really compelling thing for sure, and even though it's a composite and you're putting them together, to me even like because I've been there, it even has that feeling of the rolling hill that is kind of one of the purposes of a painting. Let's say is to take that time and to if you're in an art gallery or spending time looking at it, it's a different medium than just something you might view online or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and then like so with this one, like the machinery. You would have been taking photos in the yard kind of thing. I'm like, were you taking a lot of photos in St. John's when you were?
No, we didn't take any pictures that night.
No time.
Or not that we're going to talk about, but no, mostly like if I've been there, I try to use pictures that I've taken. If I haven't, then I'll just honestly I used Google Earth a lot because you could get pictures online, and I do use those for reference, but some details are often you can't quite make out, or you don't know what you're looking at. So I used Google Earth, and I literally would walk down the street and just, see what I was painting. So, it was kind of a bit of a it was nice. It was like kind of almost like being there while I was painting it. It was kind of cool.
Sure, brings you back a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean that also
The parts
ties.
I remember.
Yeah, yeah. That ties into the story as well. Of
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes you don't have time to take photos
Yeah.
and
I'm
sit
really
and-
not that person too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm really not. So I usually count on my friends to take pictures, but in the moment, I just want to live in the moment, and I don't want to pull out my phone ever.
Mhm,
So
yeah.
yeah, kind of bites me in the butt after, but
No, that's just who you are, and
Yeah.
thankfully you can use technology to bring you back and
Yeah.
spend a bit more time in that place to get the images that you need.
yeah.
Yeah. It was lovely. Was there anything else you wanted to say about this piece?
Oh no, not really. It just makes me happy